number 14, Shnayim, with a tipcha. So again, tipcha folds in the concept of what was said in the past word group or more. From those originally unclean animals, you shall admit a pair to be saved in the box, as referred backwards by the directional shape of the reading mark. So again, we're meduktek in the lashon. We're very careful with the words that we use about how we talk about the note, and saying that tipcha always is going to refer backwards, and its main concept is because of its directionality. So that's we have backwards and the directional shape, backwards directional shape. And this pair is going to be those unclean animals, the lo tahorahi, and it's going to roll that concept in shnayim, into the two. The pair are those that are not pure, but are still pure within their own breed. If we understood the nuance of what I just said. Ish, a male, with a mercha. So this gently rolls in the stuff from before and leads forward. Also, in this case, you shall observe that a male is leading the way to the box as depicted by the directional shape of the reading mark. So here, if you remember in the Reisha, in the first half of the pasuk, we had the word ish with the munach, and here we have it with the mercha. So the author does not make a distinction in between those two and tell us why we've got a difference in between those two. But yet he still says that it's a concept of something leading forward to something else, which is what we would expect from a mercha. Sof pasuk, and its female, ve'ishto. On the way to the box, the male shall lead, and its female shall follow after her male, according to the general rule of dependence.
Wait a minute, how did he contrast between
he didn't contrast between the ish v'ishto and the reisha and the seifa.
Okay.
We can sort of speculate that this might be
But they're different
something.
Notes, right? Well, at least
they are different notes, and we will sing them when we finish talking about them. The first half, we're certainly saying that this is a distinguishing characteristic, whereas in the second half we've already said that these are animals of lesser status, but they are still having proper etiquette so that we know that they are purebreds, so to speak. I cannot think of an unimpeachable reason to say why the difference in the notes between the Reisha and the Seifa. The Reisha certainly being the more elevated half would say that the ideal was that they were completely separated out from the Chet Hador, from the sin of the generation, whereas the true reality of the Seifa tells us that they were separate, but not so separate. They still had something of a taint of the generation in them, even if it was just other members of their species being impure. That second ish v'ishto rolls in something of what had come on from before them. So that's why that would be why in the Seifa it would be with the mercha, and in the Reisha it would be with the munach.
I wonder if ish ve'ishto, because it's a very unusual nomenclature, ish ve'ishto might indicate a fully developed specimen. Just as we say when we talk about a gever being an ish, he is fully developed internally and externally. So I wonder if this refers to that, and if the elevation of the tahor type of animal is not just from creation, it is a completely new status, so there's a break from before and a continuation on to the rest of time. Whereas the mercha in ish in the Seifa
Mhm.
part of the pasuk means that their status comes from before, from the fact that they are specimens
That's very good.
created by God in creation, which
That's
is an
very good.
elevated time, but they still continue to be God's creations for the rest of time. What do you think?
Valid.
You know, that actually, that's a good touch, as they say in French, because the status of the clean animal really comes about at this time, and before that they didn't have that differentiating element that made them a step above. So they have mamash, a completely separate category, and a break from what came before, whereas the lo tahor hasn't really changed its status. We've purified the species, right, by virtue of this process, but it's a tiger still. Whereas before,
What is the hunt?
That's right.
Yeah.
But these tahor animals have a spiritual aspect.
Yeah, now they're ready for spirituality to be eaten as sacrifices, given as sacrifice and so on. So they've been elevated, and so that's why there's that clean break from what came before. That's a very good answer.
So just to
Bring
close
up
off,
that,
we'll,
right? Clean break.
we'll read the pasuk as it should be read.
Yeah.
Mikol abehema atahora tikach lecha shiva ish v'ishto umin habehema asher lo tehora hi shnayim ish v'ishto. And we're going to end this class a little bit early because we're saying Tehillim for